everyone! It's good to be back. So good to be back. It's been a long time since I've posted a video, so thanks if you're watching for hanging in there with the long gap period. I don't like to waste a lot of time on this show talking about anything besides Overwatch, but give me 60 seconds here. This won't happen often. It's been a little while for two reasons. One, January and February are my busiest time of the year in my day job, where it becomes my day and night job. Boring stuff, I know you don't care. Second, I live in Houston, Texas, and if you've been watching the news, you saw what winter storm we went through and how poorly prepared Texas, and specifically Houston, were for the situation. I'm very thankful to be on the other side of it. It makes me realize just how nice it is to have stupid stuff in my life like this show, outside of all the normal stresses, but at the same time, it puts real life into perspective a little bit too. I'm very fortunate to be just fine. There are some others that had to go through a lot. And there's also a lot of people struggling food-wise, living situation-wise. So, one of my life's mantras is to give. It's important to give to those who are less fortunate. I know there's a lot of different methodologies on how that can be done, and I don't know what the best way is, but always have an attitude of giving. So, I will quit with that. Thanks again for tuning in. Let's get to the good stuff. So in this video, I am here to review the NetEase Esports X tournament, the worst name for a tournament ever. But this was 4 teams: Seoul, Dallas, Shanghai, and Guangzhou. So we got a nice preview of these teams. While these aren't OWL matches, there was a prize pool on the table. These teams look like they wanted to win. Still, take anything I say with a grain of salt because this is so far from the season and it's not quite OWL. I still think they were worth watching, and that's why I'm reviewing it. So, I said it in a previous video the last time the NeXT tournament took place. Don't look at it so much for who is the best team, who's playing over who. These aren't that serious, but where you see undeniable facts about player skill, you make note of them. So, I've got 4 points today that I want to go through. Let's start with number 1. Number 1, I think Seoul is being underrated. I see a lot of people putting them low in power rankings, and my rationale behind it is on 3 players: Creative, Toyou, and Fitz. So first, I'm going to start with some review of Creative. Here we have Dallas taking the point. Sparkle is playing the Echo, and he's copied the Sombra. And you'll see that he used his EMP right as the video is starting. I'm going back just a little bit, sorry. We see Sparkle come in. Doha also has EMP, so they're trying to load up on a double EMP push here. Creative does have Trance to counter it, and ultimately, Seoul will not win this fight, but I really like Creative. He does well under stress, and I think his Trance usage is pretty solid. The reason I bring this up is because Creative is often viewed as only an ANA player based on his 2020 playoff performance, and I think he's much more than that. I think his ANA is better than his Zen, but he is not one of these one-tricks who can't play multiple metas and can't play both heroes competently. I would take Creative over Kariv in a, picking one for overall skill, and you'll see here he does well under stress, good mechanics, good aim, good Zenyatta Trance usage. If we flip over to the second point, after Seoul just lost the fight that I showed, Creative has a really nice death from above type attack here. I find that he does a really good job countering the diving Fearless and just making sure he puts on a lot of tank pressure. Here he uses Trance really to stall out the point. Nothing awesome, nothing particularly interesting about this. Seoul looks like they should be losing the point, but behind Trance, behind EMP there, as you just saw from Fitz, they're able to hold on. I just love this play from Creative. Death from above. Anytime you get a death from above situation, it's fun. I like the mechanics, the thought. He knew exactly where Fielder was, and he timed his right click really well. Really clean. Love it. I think he's more known for his Ana. In this play, we get a pretty creative bio nade from him. You may have missed it there. I probably started a little bit too soon. He lobs it in the little gap in the ship there, gets 3 with his Bionade. Kariv is hacked at the time as well. Didn't really matter. There's nothing you're going to be able to do about that in a Zen Brig comp. Immediate cleanup thanks to one really nice creative Bionade there. In the next clip, we'll see Sol on offense. A little bit of a longer one, but keep an eye on Toyou. He drops Grav here, and Eileen right before this gets 2 kills. So it looks a little bit like a wasted Grav. Maybe not wasted, but could have been better. And they've got a losing fight here. Really important ult lost. Toyou gets his 2nd kill there. Gets Kaylee and then Jihun for the 3rd. Just watch him keep this charge. This is one of those situations where I feel like you're supposed to back off. You're supposed to regroup. But Toyou just stays in the fight and murders everything. I feel like he is earning a reputation as a diva player and a good one, but clearly here we see a Zarya doing some work as well. He's already back up to 80% of another Grav, and I haven't been talking that long here. Toyou really carrying the fight on this one. I enjoyed his Zarya. I enjoy from the last season his diva as well. I think he's a really solid off tank. I'm not gonna say he's Fury level or maybe even Krong level or Void or Gargoyle, but I think he's in that B tier of off tanks potentially. We'll have to keep a close eye, but I'm really liking what I'm seeing from him, and I feel like off tank is not a weakness for this team. In this next clip, we see Choi So-won playing the Echo, and anytime Echo copies Tracer, your pulse bomb's going to be a little bit telegraphed. It's a little bit obvious where it's coming. I think that was a good pulse bomb from Choi So-won. It looks like it's going to land on creative, but Toyou sees it coming. He's got the Matrix ready to go. Just good heads up play. Nothing spectacular. Just smart. I like it. Like what I'm seeing. Going back to creative here, another clip of him on Zenyatta, just because I'm trying to prove to you that I think he's a very good Zen, since I'm assuming you already think he's a competent Ana. Choi So-won is, he's strafing left and right. He's doing what he's supposed to do, trying to get some poke damage. Maybe shouldn't be with that low health staying over there, but creative really makes him pay for sticking around. Really nice shots there. Clearly a little bit of a sniper on Zenyatta. In the last clip I have of Sol, I really only am trying to capture Izayaki here versus creative to try and level set here on who's who, but I can't help myself. Lee Jae-gon sees Marvel coming in. He's always in the right place at the right time. I love Lee Jae-gon. He's a really good Brig. He stuns out and gets the kill on Marvel. Gonna back up. I also can't help myself profit with a sick 180 stick to take Lee Jae-gon out right after that. That gets me to my point here of Izayaki versus creative. I'm also a big Izayaki believer. I think his Zenyatta is top tier, and I think his Ana is probably a step below. Creative's kind of the opposite. I think he is a better Ana than Zen, but both are very good players on both heroes. So we'll get to the duel here in a second. Izayaki lands some really nice shots on creative. He takes some damage, but I think this particular duel is emblematic of where creative is at. He's threatening Izayaki, but he loses the duel. Yeah, it's just a single 1 versus 1. As much as I am excited about creative, I think Izayaki's the better Zenyatta player, if that helps you get some kind of barometer as to where I believe he is. That closes down number 1 on my list. Number 2 is about Dallas. And the conclusion that I reached here is Sparkle is not the next big thing. I feel clickbaity in saying that, but I'll elaborate, and I'm not going to put that in a clickbait title or anything, but I had very high expectations for Sparkle. I'm going to let this clip roll. We're going to watch him play Echo. He comes on and off the screen. His Echo is not inspiring at all. When I see how transcendent his Pharah play is, how transcendent his Genji and Doomfist are, I kind of figure he's going to pick up some of these other heroes. He's now had an off season to learn Echo, and his individual play here, I blame him. I think Fearless does a good job moving in, diving the right places to create, he dives up into the house there. Soul has to reposition. They're concerned. Repositioning into probably a less favorable spot. Hanbin supporting the front line. They've created the space that Sparkle needs to work with here. And when he comes on the screen, he's kind of just throwing stuff out, not doing crazy damage. And if you watch his ult charge, it's ticking up very slowly. I don't like his echo play, and I was hoping that with how transcendent of a player I think he can be on some heroes, that he would be adding echo to his repertoire or adding the tracer to his repertoire. And I haven't seen either. He's competent on both heroes, but he is not elite. And I really thought he would take those next steps on one of those two heroes. So I'm not here to say Sparkle is bad. He is not. But he is not becoming the player that I was hoping he would, where he could expand his hero pool and be hyper elite across multiple levels. And here we see him missing a pulse bomb, getting stunned out and dying to some Fleta sticky bombs in that short window of time where Lee Jae-gon has taken him out. On just a really quick side note, not a major point here, but from fantasy perspective, because I'm very interested in the situation between who's going to start and play the most between Repel and Fielder. I do really like Repel's Zenyatta that he's shown. Not the absolute best. I think it is a good trance, but he gets profited here. He doesn't have eyes on Prophet. I'll back up a couple more 20 seconds here. Good trance. His positioning isn't horrible, but you'll see that he doesn't have eyes on Prophet, and then Prophet comes by and quickly one-clips him. So I think, at first I thought the trance is fine. I do think it's a fine trance, but where he ends up is a little bit aggressive, and he immediately pays for it. Nice play from Prophet. Mediocre play from Repel. In this next one, you'll see Fleta just killing Sparkle on defense, so he's got some time to respawn here, but it gives Shanghai a window to position and get aggressive. You'll see Lip do exactly that. He's shooting through the hole here, just being an annoyance, and he uses his translocator, and then his health drops, and he dies. So Lip is obviously, you don't see where exactly his translocator is. I'm going to back up here again. You don't see where exactly his translocator is, but you know it's an aggressive one because of how quickly he starts taking damage. Repel does enough to win a 1v1 duel versus a Sombra, and that's the kind of play that saves you when your team is down 5-6 and losing positioning. I'm actually going to show the same clip one more time really quickly, because it would be a shame not to mention Eggsy. He has some really good McCree play. He pops Fate. I think he gets Lee Jae-gon next, and then also Void. We regularly throughout the series saw him look average to below average on Tracer, but to just pop off on any pure hit scan hero. There was a lot of McCree, off-meta McCree. It seems to be his comfort pick. Eggsy is extremely dangerous, and I think as far as pure hit scans go, he's in that S tier. He just doesn't have the flexibility that some of the others do. So overall, Dallas's DPS rotation, much like we thought it would be, is proving to be frustrating to predict how it's going to shape up unless they can get the exact right meta. So I've heard that topic discussed to death. I don't have anything new to say about it, other than that I agree with the overall sentiment on Dallas DPS. Alright, halfway through. Point number 3 is my favorite. Fleta and Prophet continue to be all-star players with MVP potential, with Fleta being slightly better out of the two. I love watching both of these guys play. At some point, their play is going to drop off, and they're going to have name value that isn't supported on the screen. That time is not today. Apologize for the graininess of the video. I had trouble getting the final on a quality stream. The previous ones you've seen the lovely Avril casting. And if we jump ahead a little bit, we get a really nice play from Prophet incoming. I promise you can see it through the graininess. On the left flank here, I love how he uses his recall as an aggressive tool. Too many tracers, Shax included, even being one of the hyper-aggressive tracers in the world. You rarely see him use the recall in an aggressive fashion. He uses it to allow for good blink usage and aggressive blink usage. Profit, his brain works on an entirely different level. And he sees this game in dimensions that I don't. And I think it's really awesome how, you see the team reposition after he's blinked out. They think they've got a short breath of air, and they in fact do not. The pulse bomb comes in right after the recall. 3K from Profit. Great use of his brain, supported by fantastic mechanics. Profit is the real deal, and despite his team losing in the final in this match, he wins him the point there. Speaking of players who can play the Tracer and play the Echo, Fleta shows up here in the kill feed with a 3 kill on Echo, and I continue to be very impressed with his play. I was going to jump straight to it, but if we go back, Lip is in a good spot. He could have EMP'd in the house. He tries this creative side door EMP and misses everything. He had a lot of EMP misses. Still good in aggressive Sombra play, but there's kill number 1 from Fleta. He gets behind his tanks in the house with Matrix supporting him. Great Matrix from Void to let Fleta be dangerous in the room. And Fleta, if supported by his tanks, which he always is, he will deliver. So I love to see a 3K from Fleta there. They ultimately don't win the fight, partially thanks to some good stalling and good defense from Soul, but Fleta, he does waste his copy there to try and not die and keep up the fight. Part of that is just because Profit is awesome. So every clip comes back to Profit in one way or another. This play blew my freaking mind. It happens in a flash, so you don't really see it that carefully. We got to see his duel with Lee Jae-gon. Anytime someone says, oh, Profit doesn't have the mechanics, nice stick there, gets the Zenyatta. Zenyatta chases him down, Izayaki does, to try and get some extra damage in on him. Really nice play to stick the Zenyatta, but for me, it's the Lee Jae-gon kill here. You see him poking Lee Jae-gon, who is at low-ish health, Profit at 9 health. He's going for the health pack. Lee Jae-gon kind of knows it. He comes around the back, and he's a little bit late to the health pack, but you'll see he gets his left click in. Profit is about to die here. Watch the whip as it's coming in, he dashes. Check this out. Blinks. Dodges it at the last possible frame. Then, right as the last whip shot's coming in, he gets the kill. Maybe it's lucky. Maybe there's a little bit of luck in there, but how insane of a kill is that? So, don't forget, Fleta, awesome intro, but when Profit counters and they're able to stall with the trance and with his copy, with Fleta's copy, man, Profit is just a monster. Just one more Profit clip, I promise. I can't say sorry for it. Always creative use of Blink, and he's really attacking from all sides. My point here, other than once again Profit is great, is I really don't think Sabiel B is going to play ever. He did show up in this tournament, and he looked really, really bad. So far, he looks washed. Maybe that stands, maybe it doesn't. The only conceivable meta, I think, in which Sabiel B plays is in a Tracer Echo meta, where he would play the Tracer. I think you're losing too much by not putting Profit on the Tracer. I think Sabiel B looked really rough in this tournament. Unless it's a match that's already won, I don't think we ever see Sabiel B. It's hard to say that after just one, exhibition kind of match here, but that's what I feel right now. I'm not valuing Sabiel B at all in fantasy, and I don't remove any value from Profit. I still think he's one of your top DPS selections. On to point number 4 here. It's on the charge. Point 4 for me is this. Guangzhou will be competitive, but they do not have the same ceiling as the other APAC teams, of course excluding the Valiant. I was listening to Plat Chat, and their points resonated with me, not across the board. Don't listen to what Bren says. Good entertainment, but not as analysis. I'm sure you already know that. Don't know why I'm saying that. They made the point that they think Guangzhou will be consistent, and while I may not entirely agree with that, I do think they will be mid-pack. Not mid-pack. That's not my point. They're going to be bottom of the middle pack. I consider them to be low-tier APAC, but they have a lot of bright spots, and I want to talk through those here. The first is Krong and Choi Se-won here. So I'm very much of the belief that Choi Se-won is still a projectile specialist, no hyperflex. But the best form of the charge has him in the game. With his Echo, he uses his ult. He creates some good space here, just jumping in. And he is enough of a distraction and forces people into some unfavorable spots as to let Krong get the 3k bomb. And Krong, maybe he's no Poco bomber, but he's also got some great bombs on the Diva. So love Krong, and I think Choi Se-won on the Echo is going to pair really well with Krong this year. Next up is Kaylee. I have a whole video devoted to analysis on him earlier, on one of my earlier videos. To those that have watched that, this clip will be no surprise. It's beautiful to watch though, so we're going to watch it. And for those that haven't seen my old videos, you'll get a good clip here of Kaylee. Nasty headshot. We'll watch it one more time. Sparkle is just trying to approach. Kaylee does not want to let him play the video game. And, I almost said Paris, but Dallas will then have to wait a little while longer. I'm going to skip 50 seconds ahead. The play speaks for itself pretty much. Boom. Headshot. Love it. How good is Kaylee? Well, he outduels Lip in this Ashe battle. We've seen him do it to DM in the previous exhibition matches. Now we see him do it to Lip, who is also an extremely good, competent hit scan player. Kaylee is all over the place when he is on. However, Kaylee is not perfect. We'll see the charge here take the first point, and Kaylee gets aggressive, trying to take position. The death here that's coming is not that significant, but I think it's emblematic of Kaylee's shortcomings. Kaylee's just looking for the angle, shoots, and then overstays his welcome. You'll see in the top left, he is asleep. He gets hit by a creative sleep dart, and then gets dived. And not the biggest deal. He's just trying to position aggressively. But as we've seen previously with Guangbong, and here with Kaylee, sometimes you pay the price. Skipping ahead just a little bit further, the very next fight, Kaylee is over here in the back right shooting. If we pause for a second, let's just look at it again. No mistake yet. But we see Kaylee, and you've got a very charged Toyou across the way. You soften him up a little bit. It's almost like he forgets that that room is connected. I know he doesn't, but he's not thinking. And he dies in an instant, and Toyou comes and melts him. So Kaylee's always looking to deal the damage, but I think there's a little bit of a lack of awareness of what's going on in the map versus his level of aggression. And I think he's a little bit slow to respond. So Kaylee with his fair share of slip-ups in these situations. Don't believe me? Here's one more for you. You can kind of see Kaylee panic. It's a little bit comical to watch, just running around the box and jumping. Maybe just trying to feed because the fight is over. I don't like seeing indecisiveness in players. And, Kaylee does not remain calm here. Doesn't eke out every bit of advantage that he could on the hero. When things are going well for Kaylee, they're going well. But sometimes they do collapse and you see some mental mistakes. Next up is Jihun and Choi Se-won. So Jihun, I always thought to be just a ball one trick from last season with London. We did not see him very much. Not enough to get a lot of good conclusions. You'll see it. The stream slips up here a little bit. But Jihun gets aggressive behind a really nice Choi Se-won Blizzard. And the angles and shield management are all pretty solid. This is the right spot to defend against this comp, at least in my opinion, on Control Center. And Jihun really played, it's not an overly aggressive Ryan. I think in this situation, he's very aggressive just to support a Choi Se-won Blizzard. You don't get too much of the Blizzard on screen, but I do really like how he jumps in, the Blizzard catches the Rhine, and then Toyou gets walled off so he can't escape as well. So Choi Se-won continues to impress me on the Blizzard, and Jihun much more dangerous on the Rhine than I thought it would be. Really going toe-to-toe at times with Marvel, whose Rhine I do like. I think Marvel is the better Rhine, but Jihun, he hung in there. To continue on the Jihun train here, I love this kill that he gets on Repel. Repel is just hanging out in the back. He gets booped right into the middle of things. Kareev lands a nice shot on him, and then Jihun pile drives for the finish. I'm going to back up again. Rappel had no idea this one was coming. Jihun with the very sensible boop and the kill for his team. He did prove that I think he's really good on the ball. He was pretty dangerous there. And, you know, Rio's definitely one of those tanks that, you know, people like to throw the underrated tag onto. And I would agree. I think Rio is solid, but I think having Jihun allow you to focus on ball, and Rio can now be the, you know, Orisa, Monkey, and maybe for Rhine as well. But Jihun's proved he can play the Rhine. So I'm beginning to view Jihun like maybe a 2020 or 2019 Ameng a little bit. Maybe a slightly budget Ameng. I don't think his ball is Ameng or Gaga level yet, but maybe we just haven't seen enough. And clearly he is competent on the Rhine. So I initially thought this would just be a ball one trick, and that Rio is solid enough to get a lot of playing time. I think Jihun could take some of that away from him. Last clip of the day, we have the charge diving in, and Choi So-won is forcing the Genji, as we've seen him do, and doing so successfully. He really reins in the damage here. To briefly talk about him, I don't have any Echo clips of him to show you for today, but I think he looked very good on the Echo. He continues to look elite on the Genji, and I continue to believe that the best form of the charge is when the meta favors this guy. I think Assassin gets more love than Choi So-won does. I think Assassin is better on the Genji, but I think Choi So-won may have a little bit more flexibility. Maybe I haven't done enough video of Assassin yet, and I'll have a video on him soon, but I really like Choi So-won, and I feel like he should be getting some of the love that goes Assassin's way. Choi So-won has the blade, and Kariv is about to get nano, and this play is not a great one. I'm not going to lie, this one isn't inspiring. They go with the blind nano blade. He jumps up, he dashes in, Lee Jae gone, always doing the right things. He boops him back. Stuns him and boops him back. We'll watch it one more time. And it's the dangers of a blind nano blade. Like, sometimes it's going to work and sometimes it isn't. Lee Jae gone, when he's the enemy Brig, chances are probably against you. So it's a little bit of a wasted series of ults. They were trying to snowball. I don't blame them. But, you know, not an inspiring combo there. So we come back to a couple of fights later, and I'll show you why he is inspiring. I love Choi So-won, and this is one of the examples why. We're coming up on Nano Blade again. If you fail, do you keep doing the same thing over and over again? No, you don't. It looks like they do, but I do not believe he does, and we'll see why here in a second. I'll have to slow it down. Watch it the first time, though. So he jumps in, they Nano Blade. This time it works. He gets the double kill, and the Charge are able to use this one to snowball in and finally take the point after a couple of failed attacks. What's different here? Maybe it's just our POV that we get from the camera angle here, but we're going to slow-mo this one because it's only there for a slight frame. Choi So-won's up here, and you know, you think, oh, he's charging ult. Well, his ult's already full. What is he doing? He's scouting. He's trying to see where Nano Blade can be used. So he doesn't get a lot of info there. The D.Va's poking him. He can't see a whole lot. But if we crawl on forward here, you pause it. He sees both supports back here around the corner, and I think he knows he's got a window here. So we'll go back up to full speed. The camera angle changes. We don't quite get to see it, but you see the idea here. With the corner there, it's going to be a lot harder for Lee Jae-gon to get off his whip shot or his shield bash, and there's no other support from the rest of the team. So I don't think Shanghai repositioned or ready for that Nano Blade yet, and Choi So-won does the little things. He knows where Nano Blade is going to work, he calls for it, and he gets it, and the Charge keep things competitive with the Dragons, which, once again, this is not the most serious of matches that you'll ever see, but it means something to me. That'll do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed my 4 main points there. I'll quickly go through those again. I think Seoul is underrated because Creative, Toyou, and Fitz are better than advertised. Sparkle, he's worrying me. He's not the next big thing. Fleta and Profit will remain in the MVP race, and the Charge will be competitive, but they don't have the same ceiling as some of the other APAC teams. Hope you enjoyed the video. Next up, I'm going to do a couple of short ones on Naga and on Assassin, as have been requested in the comments. I want to try and deliver there, and I love both of these guys. After those two shows, those two YouTube videos, the tone of the show will change a little bit, and my next big piece of content I'm working on is individual rankings of all the players. So that will be coming soon. I hope you enjoy the intro and outro by Baby Blue. Fantastic music. Thanks again for donating that here to the show. Thanks everybody for listening. Like I said at the top, it's good to be back. Thanks for listening. It means a lot to me. You know, this is a stupid show, but people are subscribing at least a little bit. Makes me happy. So thanks for adding that little bit to my life. Hope you have a good day, everyone. I'll talk to you soon.